The conversation we want to have today is, what is activism? Why is it important? How can it positively and negatively affect the boardroom? And how should you be thinking about it as board members and members of the audit committee? So how does the board handle that wide range of activism, stakeholder interest, as you think about the organization and actions you should be taking?
Well, I think as a board member, I think ensuring that your management team has a really thoughtful and comprehensive outreach protocol. How often are they getting out to those stakeholders? And is there anything the board would need to do to validate the authenticity of what comes back? Because we all know as a board, your biggest weakness might be that a filtering goes on in those communications up to the board level. So I think making sure the management team has a really comprehensive outreach protocol, that it has an appropriate degree of frequency, and then there is some interaction with directors, with some of those stakeholders, just to validate that the context in which it's been portrayed to us is accurate.
I think it's probably a misconception that people think we go around looking for problems. We go around looking for weak companies or governance issues or screwed up capital structures or what have you. We actually don't do that at all. We start with, let's find the best business models in the planet. And that's the number one thing, is the best companies with the best intellectual property and barriers to entry and scientific legacies and customer relationships and recurring revenues. And then from there, let's find the ones that are cheap. Now, as it happens, it's rare that the best companies in the world are cheap unless something's going wrong. But that doesn't necessarily have to be bad decision making. It might be bad luck, it might be an industry cycle, it might be an adverse regulatory or litigation event, something like that that creates an investment opportunity.
I actually really believe activism can be immensely constructive. I think where the activist comes with, here is the desired outcome I need, and it is not substantiated with really rigorous research and data and analytics and positions and perspective, it is a little difficult sometimes to take those requests seriously. But even those requests, I see a value. It forces a management team and a board to reflect upon, where are we? Why does that sentiment exist? Is there any plausible executability of the strategy that they're proposing? And it forces you into the world of, there are no sacred cows. It asks, what can we do to cut costs? Why are we not growing revenues? Why are ratios appearing the way they are? If we're truly, truly balanced, let's look at it from their perspective.
If you think about the way a board works right now, the audit committee works with a certain set of advisors doing one form of analysis. The compensation committee works with their advisors independently doing their analysis. The strategic planning department of the company works with Bain or McKinsey doing their strategic planning analysis. And the pieces, and then if there's CEO succession, some search firm gets involved and does their, the pieces are fractured. They don't talk to each other. And the CEO can see all the pieces, but how many other people can? And so one of the value adds I think that I can't tell you go get McKinsey because they don't touch it the same way. I can't say go talk to the analysts at Fidelity Investments that covered you because they're not in the room. There's this unique thing that happens if you put somebody in the board who is deeply embedded in understanding the strategic landscape of the company because they study all of the competitors, they go to all the trade shows, they do surveys of the customers, they think like that, and sits in the audit committee meeting and understands the nitty-gritty of how the business is accounted for and what the right KPIs are to track management, and sits in compensation committee, or at least is either on or attending, and understands how compensation is getting. Because there's no reason why the compensation of Microsoft should be benchmarked purely to the types of KPIs that Oracle and SAP and Google and Facebook are using. It's irrelevant. What it really matters is connecting that back to the strategic planning session of Microsoft and the type of financial KPIs that the CFO is tracking, to build something that reinforces the strategy coherently. And that is a very, very difficult thing to do, to knit all of those committees together into one unified whole, because it requires so much work and a deep understanding of the amount of time commitment to it. paired with this sort of outsider's perspective of the environment.